Bergot, a character in Proust's novel À la recherche de temps perdu, dies in front of this painting by Vermeer. He was already seriously ill and should have stayed in bed, but he loved the painting so much that he went to see it while it was on display in Paris. He had read a piece by an art critic who had mentioned a little patch of yellow wall in the painting that was like, and I quote, "a priceless specimen of Chinese art, of a beauty that was sufficient in itself." Although he knew the picture well, Bergot couldn't remember the little patch of yellow wall. At the exhibition, he finds the patch and thinks about how his own books do not measure up to that standard, and then he dies. The little patch of yellow wall has intrigued readers and critics ever since, partly because it's not obvious what Proust is referring to. There are two opinions in the debate. The first group maintains that the little patch of yellow wall is in the painting, and there are two candidates for where it might be. It could be this yellow roof catching the afternoon sun, though this is a roof, not a wall. Or further to the right, it could be one of these walls at the right-hand edge, although they're not so obviously yellow. So both candidates are problematic. The second group of critics claims that there is no little patch of yellow wall in the painting, that Proust either made it up or misremembered. These two camps stand in opposition to one another, but they both agree that there is a final and unambiguous answer to the question of whether or not there is a little patch of yellow wall in the painting. They also share a crude and seemingly un-Proustian idea of memory as simply a matter of accurate recall. When Bergot arrives in front of the painting, this is what Proust writes. At last he came to the Vermeer, which he remembered as more striking, more different from anything else he knew, but in which, thanks to the critic's article, he noticed for the first time some small figures in blue, that the sand was pink, and finally the precious substance of the tiny patch of yellow wall. The sentence contains a clue that has been overlooked. Bergot notices three things: blue figures, pink sand, yellow wall. The pink sand is fine, even though the colour of this reproduction is not perfect. But where are the small figures in blue? If we discount the figures in the foreground, which Bergot could not have failed to notice, the only other figures are on the far side of the riverbank. And even allowing for the inexact colour of the reproduction, the foliage here should be bluer than it appears, the little figures dotted along the quayside are not blue. It's possible that Proust was neither making things up nor being forgetful when he wrote this. He was instead demonstrating what happens when an event or an object is recreated in memory rather than simply recalled. The painting does not just exist at the moment that someone observes it. It does not exist only in the present, but also in memory. Any object or event that has made an impression on someone will be revisited later, perhaps over and over again. As the object returns to the mind, it is subject to condensation and displacement, which reshape the object so that it is able to sustain the emotional weight that attaches to it. In this way, it acquires personal significance for each individual. Without undergoing this process, it would remain purely external, an indifferent fact. Bergot makes a connection between the little patch of yellow wall and his own writing, which is an example of this kind of personal significance. The little patch of wall does not just describe a fragment of architecture, but speaks to Bergot about the artistic process and the ultimate ends of art. The little patch of yellow wall is, in Proust's writing, the equivalent of one of Vermeer's jewelled highlights that so strike his viewers. Proust's process complements Vermeer's. Look at how Vermeer edits form, say the top of the gatehouse. It's a strange mixture of exactitude and vagueness. While the gatehouse conveys a sense of firmness and geometrical solidity, the actual paint surface is all spotted and speckled, and the division between one architectural element and another is almost impossible to pinpoint, and the coherence of the building's form relies greatly on the imagination and projection of the viewer. We do not see the gatehouse so much as use the marks Vermeer has made in order to imagine it. The little patch of yellow wall is neither real nor fictitious. It is remembered. It is created anew each time it comes into consciousness. There is and is not a little patch of yellow wall in the painting, and each viewer must find it for themselves. When they do, it may turn out to be neither yellow nor wall, but it will be the patch that Proust remembered and that Bergot rediscovered. If you found this video interesting, please like and subscribe, or visit my channel, Think of a Picture, where you'll find lots more videos like this. Thank you.